Now, at the end we see that Charles Woods dies, hopefully. He numbers there. But we also see that Carl only keeps Doug. He therefore lets all of the other dogs go. Since where would he keep them on that airplane? Therefore now that technology is out in the world. Now keep in mind that B&L is still there. Yeah, they are going to rise up pretty high. I consider they are able to just take away people's houses simply, if they wanted to. Now, we're gonna go a bit into the future, but we're gonna see absolutely no humans. Let's just say that, yeah, the is now happened after the events of that, and humans are now in space. With the humans in space, who exactly would be left on the planet to be around? That therefore leads us straight into the car series. Now, again with the AI thing, we've seen inanimate objects can come to life. And that is the cars. They are intelligent. They've been able to build their own drive by themselves. Those have their own Grand Prix and all that. As well as have emotions. What we've seen. We know that humans are gone, since in Cars 2, there are no humans. Humans are off the planet altogether, and it's just cars left. Cars and other things. Now, these cars are intelligent. But taking to the mind, B&L is still there somehow. After all, who's got all this fuel to keep the cars going? Now, unfortunately, with humans off the planet, there is nothing left except the fuel to keep these cars alive. Which is why in Cars 2, we see a fuel go on between the fake company All and of course B&M. Now All as confirmed at the end of Cars 2, was actually a fake. It wouldn't work, it would actually just kill you if it was hit by a laser, right? Therefore meaning we've now gone into a state where it's all out crisis with energy. This therefore leads us into Earth becoming uninhabitable with the amount of carbon just being kept around, producing so much toxic fumes that eventually we could live on the planet. Like I said before, we're still in space, keep that in mind. This therefore leads us into the future. Now, with the cars now eventually being completely unable to sustain their lives, we are left with only one thing. Someone's left cleaning up the planet after they eventually have been wiped out. And where did that lead us? Straight to Wally. Now, we know Wally was made by B&L. Therefore, B&L somehow knows that the planet has become uninhabitable and has left many warnings out on the planet to keep people go ahead and clean up the planet so eventually humans could come back. Unfortunately, from what the robot thinks, they will never return to Earth. They are stuck there. Yeah, way to go, B&L. I made an AI. now it just wants to keep humans up in space. Hang on a minute. Where did this sound come from here? Yeah, I'll look into it later. Now, in Wally, we see that there's only one cleaning robot left, and that's of course Wally. Now, he's left cleaning up this planet, but he has a strange obsession with humans, as he keeps all of the human things he's found where he lives. Therefore, he's becoming a bit too human, if I should say. Now, it's quite easy to tell that Wally is becoming human. Why? He falls into love, of course, with Eve, or the Eva, as one too. Therefore, he's fallen in love with her, and it shows that he is human, as well as he has a friendship with a cockroach. If animals are wiped out, why is that cockroach still there? That's what I'm wondering now. Actually, where did all the animals even come from afterwards? If they've gone, I'm pretty sure they're still around, we just don't see them. Now, a bit off topic. In the morning, we see him go back up to space. He's to get Eva back after falling in love with her. And eventually, he does get her back, and humans find out that the Earth is now habitable again. Now, we see him comes back to Earth under due to Wally. Seriously. If I was reading this article right, this guy's saying Wally the robot Jesus. Yeah, this guy are gonna have to talk. Okay. Now, with the humans now back on Earth and Wally and the machines back on, with the humans now sustained, we are left with one thing as to what's next. A little plant, which could eventually become a tree. Now, with that whole idea of the tree, what's next in the Pixar line as a tree? Well, of course, a bug's life. Now, we've seen a cockroach has been around, therefore implying that bugs are still there. And now that they've been given a tree, animals will eventually come back to life. Right. Now, we don't see humans that often as a bug's life. That's because all of them on the axiom, but there could only be so many of them, and they've just started walking again. Basically, bugs don't see them as a threat. Even when Flink is told not to leave, he said because of snakes, birds, and bigger bugs. No humans and no machines are mentioned, therefore stating that there's not that much of it. Not humans or machines, and that's quite honestly true. Now, we know that there's other places outside of the tree, as we go to. Now, we know that humans are now still around, animals with intelligence are around, and machines are around. And where could this eventually lead to? But of course, the Monsters franchise. Now, there's not much to say on the university, since I haven't watched it. Now, we're going a bit into the future now with the Monsters Inc. Let's just say that animal, that radiation is still around at that moment because of the big company being now bought. Sorry, I just had to do that. That's the point. Anyway, in Monsters University, you learn that the university was founded in 1313, therefore meaning that the calendar is now reset back to when humans came back to Earth. Basically, that's where it's taken up from. Now, with this whole radiation that was going on, animals and humans would eventually mix into hybrids, which leads to monsters. Now, this is where we get to the end of the entire theory. We now know that the monsters entirely have a planet, but also they're intelligent. And in the Monsters Inc., monsters cannot interact with humans, yet they need humans to sustain them in everything. Therefore, or in Monsters Inc., they're taking human screams or laughters to keep themselves powered. But this is where we're going straight back to the beginning again. Now, there's a reason why it's going straight back to the beginning again. Because in Monsters Inc., we know they go through doors to get their energy back. And they get their energy to power all of their cities. But when they go through these doors, they are told that they cannot take anything that's human. Why? Well, let's just say because of something, I don't know, there's a butterfly effect. That's right, the doors are basically time machines all the way back to, let's say, Earth's time. Right. Well, just before humans go extinct for a while. Now, we've seen that in Monsters Inc. a little girl comes through and eventually befriends. And what were their names again? Really should have done this. Befriends and Mike and Sullivan. Now, she befriends them, and eventually they have to shut down that door to send her home. And they rebuild the door just to say goodbye one last time. Now, this little girl's name is Boo. But now she knows that there are monsters in this world. Oh, no. And what does that eventually lead her to? To eventually find a way to get back. Now, take this from Blue's perspective now. She knows there's a whole different world through her wall closet where monsters are real. Now, she's eventually going to want to get back. Therefore, she's going to go through her whole life trying to figure out ways to get back and find Mike and Sully again. This is what she was tasks that she could not probably do. But this would lead her to discover one thing and one thing alone. Magic. And what does that mean? Well, let's just say if she has magic, she doesn't know to go into the future. She'll try and figure out some way to do something like that, but ends up in the past. Let's just say a place I like to call Scotland. That's right. That old hag that has magic in film Brave is in fact Boo, the little child from Monsters Inc. Yep, she grows up to be that. But it would make sense since she knows all these things in her workshop that are much similar to all of the events